Well, welcome in everybody. I'll go ahead and get started. Looks like we got a few of us here. And again, let me mention that we are recording this session today. So any questions that you ask in chat as I go through it will be helpful not only for this group, but for anybody else that watches the webinar. And you guys will be responsible for catching things that I miss. So I appreciate any feedback or questions as we go along. I'll go ahead and get started. Obviously, we are ByteSpeed. Like to be considered your complete IT resource. We're available at bytespeed.com. Many of the web pages and things that go on about all the different aspects of the solutions that we cover. We help with many of the solutions with a variety of ways, whether it's through installation, configuration before you install it yourself. We have US-based support, and we can help even with procurement like flexible spending and consultation, similar to what I'm doing right now. And then it carries on into more detailed things and even one-on-one if that's what you need for any of the solutions that we carry. So today, the solution that we're specifically going to be talking about is from a company called StarWind. And StarWind has a very cost-effective hyperconverged infrastructure solution, or HCI, that I'll be talking about today. And my name is Robert Ogan. I'm a director of engineering at ByteSpeed. My email is there on the screen as well. I am a former K-12 technology coordinator. I worked in K-12 for about 15 years total. And before going to the state of Iowa and working there, working on technology contracts for purchasing, and then coming to ByteSpeed. And I've been here about 10 years, a little over. So now that all those things are out of the way, one of the things that we've started looking around for, especially in K-12, is solutions that get us away from VMware. VMware has seen a huge cost increase in the last year and a half, 2 years. Plus, it's increased complexity for renewals, decreased direct access to support, and decreased access for some VARs that may or may not even be able to purchase VMware anymore. The other thing that we're talking about hyperconverged infrastructure is the current state of SANs is going up. There was an increase in 2025 of $3.4 billion in SAN infrastructure. And they look at it's probably going to increase somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 14% cost year over year for SAN, and carrying on a physical SAN, big box of hard drives that all of your storage is shared on. That type of infrastructure is going up and up in cost. And there is a continued push to cloud and yearly fees for all those things for support through any of the major SAN vendors. So that kind of brings us to HCI, hyperconverged infrastructure capabilities, and why you would want to use it, and the allowance for other things like Hyper-V is the one that I will talk about today. But you could also, if you wanted to use Proxmox or something like that, it is StarWind is open source. They're very, they're able to be used with any type of virtualization infrastructure that you wanted to use, as far as I'm aware. But the one that we use the most is Hyper-V. And when you get into licensing, especially for K-12, once you license something for use for VMs, you buy a Microsoft license, you can use it for 2 VMs for that standard license. Hyper-V is effectively free at that point. And so Hyper-V is a very attractive virtualization platform for K-12 because of that, and the bringing in HCI capabilities and allowing you to use Hyper-V is something that StarWind is very good at. Has a lower long-term total cost of ownership. You are using the hard drives that are in the system. You don't have to have 2 completely separate forklift upgrades where You have to upgrade all of your servers and then upgrade your SAN and upgrade all your storage as well. You can just have your storage inside of your servers be the storage for your shared hypervisors and have it all upgraded at once. So that's kind of nice. Um, it's licensed based on storage, not the amount of CPUs that you put toward it. So if you're doing 20 terabytes or more, you can license for an unlimited capacity of storage. And then no matter what you do, when you upgrade your compute, you upgrade your memory, the number of VMs, whatever it is that changes, you're already licensed for your storage. So it doesn't really matter. It makes it very simple. It's plug and play, has a very easy GUI to set up things like your LUNs from the very beginning. It's very, very easy to understand. Um, there is no specific vendor list for hard drives. So a lot of your storage vendors out there, they want to tell you you can use storage, but it has to be, one of these three models of hard drive. It is very open source with StarWind and is not that way at all. And the one thing that is, as far as I'm aware, unique to StarWind is that you can use this with only 2 nodes. So in the past, if you only had 2 servers that were your hosts for your hypervisors, you were left with only being able to have replicas. You could have a copy that was in cold mode, it wasn't live and active, it was in standby on another node, and you could physically turn it on if something went wrong with this one. With StarWind, you're able to actually take 2 nodes or more, create a shared storage environment, and have live migration capabilities where that if one node goes down, the VMs will go to the other hypervisor and live and run on that compute and have access to that storage because the 2 servers share storage. So only requiring 2 nodes, I think, is the only HCI solution that I'm aware of that does that. Most require a minimum of 3 nodes to create that shared storage and hyperconverged infrastructure. So what does ByteSpeed do? StarWind is a company. You can go directly to StarWind and buy their vSAN products. So how do we add value? What's the differentiating factors for buying it from ByteSpeed? So there's quite a few ways that we add value to the purchase. We can customize a solution that's very specific for you. So we'll sit down with you, look at what you have right now, number of VMs, number of hypervisors, and figure out a very cost-effective way for you to move forward with your specific situation. So that's one thing that we do really well. You don't have to figure it all out yourself. We will help. We can sync up the warranty with ByteSpeed servers. So all of our servers come with a 5-year warranty. And when we sit down and we're looking at what you're going to do, maybe it makes sense that you want to have things replaced every 5 years so that your core infrastructure is always under warranty. And we can sync up the StarWind warranty so that it corresponds with the ByteSpeed warranty, and the support and warranty is covered for 5 years at a time that way. We provide migration services, so we can help with not only how to set up the StarWind piece itself, set up your LUNs, teach you how to use the LUNs, but we can even help you migrate your VMs, whether you're on Proxmox, VMware, and you want to move to Hyper-V. We can help with the migration process. And to and from any of those things that I said, whether you're starting with Hyper-V and going to Proxmox, whatever it is, we can aid in that migration process. We also provide training and support and setup of the storage. And through all the things that we do, it's a very open how you want it to look. It's very a la carte, I would say, as far as what that looks like. Many companies will come in and just do things for you, and you get the finished product at the end. And if you want that, we can definitely do that for you through the migration and the setup of StarWind. But some people, like myself, when I was a tech coordinator, I learned very well by doing. And so I might want you to set up like a couple VMs, maybe migrate a couple, but I would love to watch and maybe do some myself with ByteSpeed watching over the shoulder. And we will do that as well, so that you're not just stuck with a day one product that you don't know how to use. And then lifetime support. So we're always going to be here. If you buy this product from us, we're always going to be that phone call away that you can just say, hey, I forgot, how do I set up a LUN on this? And we're going to help you right away with that. So those are the things that ByteSpeed adds value to that process. This is what it would look like. This is a 3-node setup, obviously. So this is 1, 2, and 3 nodes. We have 2 switches in here that are SAN switches, is what they're labeled, even though there's no SAN. These are effectively managing the traffic of the storage, which would take the place of a SAN. That's why they're labeled SAN. And this would be your core switch infrastructure here. Your existing core switch infrastructure are these 2. And then these 2 are the back-end data transfer, data plane, if you want to call it that, between the 3 servers. The reason that these switches are here, and there's 2 of them, all of these pathways that you look at, if you trace them out, they all provide redundancy. So any one thing that goes down, whether it's a NIC card, an entire host, an entire SAN switch, all these things have redundant failover built in so that things will continue to work over this switch or this NIC or this host. Any one point of failure is not going to be enough to take down your network, and it will continue to work and function just as it did beforehand. And we will set this up with you, make sure you understand the process if you were to do this with us, and you will get this diagram as it relates to your specific install. This one is Gartner Peer Insights from 2023, a hyperconverged infrastructure software stack and where things bounced up in 2023 from Gartner. This one is just to kind of give you a sense of comfort. Some people haven't heard of StarWind a whole lot. So this puts them in the top right quadrant as the only one. And you can see that Nutanix and Scale and VMware, which all have pretty market recognizable solutions in HCI, are all actually below where StarWind is. And StarWind is a customer choice, and it is doing very well. Full transparency, StarWind was purchased by another company, a storage vendor, and they haven't made a ton of changes yet. They're still leaving the name StarWind in place. They purchased StarWind because they wanted an HCI company, but it has been a great transition so far up to this point. So that's all I have for what I was going to talk about. This is our website link. If you go to bytespeed.com/VSAN, you can see videos, all the information that I went through today, and you can link up for getting individual one-on-one demos for this StarWind product or the VSAN product from us, as well as being able to request quotes. Tell us what you want, like specifically how much storage, and those kinds of specific things that you would want for your environment. Any questions? I don't see any questions right now. If you could lower or raise your hand if you have a question, and I could let you talk if you'd rather do it that way. Let's see, Adam. All right, Adam. You talk?
Yeah, I threw a couple questions in chat. Maybe you don't see them, but
Oh, okay.
as a former user of scale computing HCI since 2015, how will StarWind compare to that feature?
So StarWind, yeah, Scale and StarWind from a storage perspective would be very similar as to how they treat their storage. The big differentiator for you would be you would go back to some other form of actual handling of the VMs. So whether that was you decided to use Proxmox or you decided to use Hyper-V, you would have to learn a different virtualization hypervisor platform because Scale has their own hypervisor that they use. Um, and we could aid in that process if that's something you want. We can definitely show you, this is how, if you did this in scale, this is what Hyper-V calls it. This is how Hyper-V utilizes it. Um, from a functionality standpoint, there's probably nothing really advanced that scale does, like stretch clusters or anything like that. So most of the time, all your capabilities are going to be there. They're just going to be called something different.
All right. So to follow up on that, yeah, scale is its own hypervisor. So if I'm using Hyper-V now, it would look the same to me, but in my closet, this the virtual infrastructures is where StarWind picks that up, right?
Yeah, StarWind would really pick up more on the storage side. So when you're going in, like now, do you use like a SAN or do you use local storage for Hyper-V or?
We've got two local storage boxes.
Okay. So if you've ever used a SAN and you've seen the part where you set up like a LUN and then you set up your iSCSI initiators and you look at your connectors, and then once the connectors are in place and your LUN is set up, it just starts to look like a hard drive for all intents and purposes on the hypervisor.
Mhm.
Um, all that back end stuff is what StarWind would do. So
Okay.
the StarWind product would step in and take your storage, your local storage on your hard drives that you've created, and it would pool that storage into one chunk and create effectively like a cloud of storage, and then give you RAID or iSCSI initiators to that block of storage, right? So it's gonna handle all the storage like a SAN would behind the scenes.
Okay. So one thing that I'm sorry I can only compare with scale. One thing I wanted to know if it was possible for offsite storage. So if scale really is great because it bounces between nodes, and you touched on that earlier. Um, that if one fails, you've got the backup and everything you could spin up on the other node. Um, One thing you could do with scale is have another cluster of nodes off site, and then overnight you would schedule those snapshots back and forth. So if something were to happen, disaster recovery wise, we could spin everything up on our offsite storage, and everything would still be going. Is that something we can do with StarWind as well if we wanted an offsite storage?
Yeah, I believe so. I'd have to check with Andy to make sure like the specifics of how you want to do it. But I know that there would be probably at least two ways to do what you're talking about. You could have, you know, Veeam or somebody else do that, or you can have another uh, storage repository. Like you can make your storage as redundant as you want to some degree, because if you added another node or two that were off-site, as long as you could get them connected with high bandwidth, you could split your storage up amongst those data stores and make your storage kind of as redundant as you want, right?
Okay. All right. I missed it. I was taking notes and didn't hear it. Did you say somebody bought StarWind, and who was that?
What's that? Oh, someone bought. I'd have to go back and look at their.
I thought you mentioned someone they wanted a vSAN hyperconverged solution, so they
No, they bought the company. StarWind, the company product, got purchased, but they haven't made any major changes so far. They were their own private company, and then they were purchased by. Let me see if I can find it quick. Because I think they changed all the data core. So there's a company called Data Core that bought StarWind. So if you go to starwindsoftware.com, which is their website, you will see that it now says StarWind by Data Core.
okay.
Um, and currently, the only thing I know that will likely change is today you can buy a permanent perpetual license for StarWind software. And so if you buy the unlimited license today, Right now, the way it works as we speak is you pay that license fee one time. 5 years from now, if you change to all NVMe storage, brand new servers, you wouldn't have to pay anything on your license, because as long as you keep your support active, um, even though you update your storage and replace all your storage, your license is perpetual. There are murmurs that in the spring of next year, they will go to a license that's not perpetual. Your license will be tied in with your support. Um, so I don't know how that will look today. It is perpetual still as an option, but I don't know in this.
Support we would pay to ByteSpeed.
What's that?
Would we would pay our support to ByteSpeed?
We can get you the support renewal. It would be for StarWind support specifically. Um,
Okay.
but we could be involved in that just as much as we do, like anything else. If there's something that's a 5 or 10 minute fix, you call us, we can fix it. If it's something about, not even if it's not specifically StarWind messing up, if you don't remember how to set up a LUN, we'll help you with that, just like we normally would. The StarWind support ongoing is more for things like something failed, that you need help, at a very detailed level, repairing something on the StarWind or getting firmware updates in the future. The support contract covers all those things.
Okay. But ByteSpeed's our first call primarily.
Yep,
That'd be right to say, kind of like our servers or desktops.
exactly.
Okay. Okay. I think that's all the questions I had, Robert. I appreciate
All
it.
right. Well, I appreciate you. It helps everybody if you ask questions, because I don't think of everything in the slides. So I appreciate you, Adam. Are you gonna be at ACOT this year?
No, I'm not. I may send a few of my people, but I will not be there.
Okay. Well, we'll miss you.
Yeah, yeah, you have to come see me.
All right. Well, if anybody else has anything, definitely raise your hand. But otherwise, I'll say have a good afternoon and take care.